Director Dave's dumb pick of the week. Oh, okay, yes. We like this.
Okay, yeah. So here's your ultimate scratch-off pick right here.
Yes.
Director Dave's dumb pick of the week. We got 2 TD scores by Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, and Christian McCaffrey, pays out at $23,970.
That's your ultimate scratch-off.
Yeah, that's your ultimate scratch-off bet for the week right there. So if you go and ride along with Director Dave on that one and you hit that shit, good on you. Shout out to you. Your scratch-off hit, baby.
No shit. Wow.
Friends, countrymen, fellow degenerates, welcome to this NFL kickoff edition of Bets and Buds. We're the Buds helping you cast some bets. I am Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
Welcome back, everybody. We have made it. Football season is here. The college slate has kicked off last week.
Less than 28 hours.
Yes,
less than 28 hours.
Yes, we are here, baby. We are here. We have finally fucking made it. The sports that we actually give a fuck about gambling on, so we can get that bets part of these Buds thing going for you, baby. Because I don't like betting on shit that I don't know a whole lot about right now. Especially why I still got to drive my ass over to the L side. So
4 more months.
Yeah,
Jason.
4 more months, brother. 4 more months.
Shit.
That shit's on the docket. I think the wheels are in motion to where it's going to go through this year. We don't have to take that trip anymore. But we already took that trip today.
Yep, the trip has been made.
The trip has been made. We got a lot of juice there we're going to share with you guys here today. We got to go over a little bit of, all the whole slate for this week. College football was in full gear. Exciting first week this season here with the first season of the 12-team playoff. So
unless you're a Florida State fan.
Yeah, if you're a Florida State fan, sorry about it. But DJ Olele, however the hell you say that shit. I mean, he's on his third school, man. Right. He tried it with the Clemson at first, didn't work out there. Went to Oregon State, didn't work out there that great. Went to Florida State, we saw what had happened. They're 0-2. They're pretty much out of the scene here at this point.
Those memes have been fantastic.
Oh, I bet they've been killing them. I bet they. I haven't seen a whole lot on the internet, because I've been trying to stay away from that shit.
That was good shit. Like, one of them was somebody broke into my car, and it was 2 of his pro football cards. His college football, somebody left them.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I gotta believe that's got to be fucking crazy.
So. Okay, so let's get this out of the way now.
Yes,
talk about some Cardinals. They're 1 game over 500, sitting at 70-69, 11 games behind the Brewers still. But I looked at it right before we came on. They're only 4.5 games out of that playoff spot. But they still have 3 teams they would have to jump to get there: the Mets and the Cubs, and obviously the Braves. So, I mean, is it possible? Yeah. Is it likely? No.
Do we want to see it? Probably not.
To have a legitimate shot with 23 games to go, they would have to go like 18-5, 17-6.
And then what we've seen from this team,
it's not happening.
Yeah, even if they even got there, would we even see anything we want to see? Probably not. No. So, I mean, I've watched enough Cardinal baseball in my lifetime to see when you got a team that's got a chance to make some noise, and this isn't one of those teams.
So they might make 500, 83, 84 wins. It won't be enough to make the playoffs, and it'll keep the Cardinals from setting a franchise record of having pathetic back-to-back losing seasons for the first time. This is legit, for the first time since 1958.
But you know what's crazy, though? I think that year that they won the World Series in 2006, I think they only had 83 wins that year.
Yeah, they only had 83.
The division was just that shitty, but they snuck in.
They were 83-79
But they still seemed like a lot better of a baseball team than what we're watching right now.
They should be a better baseball team than what we're watching
well,
right
now. We can go on and on about the decline of Goldschmidt and Arenado. And
he's actually picked it up. It just took him 5 months.
Yeah, exactly. And then the mismanagement of the team with Ali Marmol. And it's a whole collective.
Just the roster management in particular.
All the way around. I mean, it's just been an ugly season. Stuff we're not accustomed to watching here in St. Louis baseball.
And it's showing up like the fan base is pissed. They're not showing up to the games.
Yeah, I mean,
you've got national writers calling out Cardinal fans for not showing up to the games, but. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not spending my money on a product.
And we're just spoiled around here. A lot of teams are.
I don't even spend my money on Cardinal baseball when they're awesome. I'm definitely not going to do it when they're terrible.
When they're looking this horrible, yeah.
I
mean, at the end of the day, we're spoiled around here as far as what we see compared to other fans. A lot of other fan bases like Kansas City and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, they're used to watching this shitty baseball over and over again. Here, we're like, no, thank you. I'd rather
we don't want it.
Yeah, I don't want it. That's not we can't drink in celebratory fashion to losing and mediocrity. I mean, you just can't.
I mean, it's the Cardinals. They just keep on rolling like they're a team of mediocrity.
Yep. I mean, like we said at the beginning of the season, middling team.
Middling team. So moving on to the Blues, came down yesterday that Torrey Krug will be out for the rest of the season. He's going to have surgery on that arthritic left ankle that he supposedly broke 6 years ago. He did an interview on 101 ESPN. He was very emotional about it. I mean, this is something that's obviously been hurting them for a while.
I mean, as an athlete, I mean, that's the last thing you want to feel is like human. Right. Honestly, because as a professional athlete, those guys walk around feeling pretty superhuman most of the time. And
he is 32 years old, and I mean, he's going to miss the whole season. He's out for the season.
And he's feeling that career mortality going on right now.
And by the time he comes back, will he even be able to have that step?
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, as a defenseman, he's an undersized defenseman. So, I mean, he's used to being the captain of your power play. And so, like, he's that explosivity is what actually kept him as being somebody relevant, being an undersized defenseman in the NHL.
So looking back at some of the moves the Blues have made over this offseason, you could probably you could tell the writing was on the wall. With bringing in Suter and obviously signing the offer sheet with Broberg, then bringing in the Pierre Joseph brother because he's a defenseman, and then all the guys you have waiting in the wings, Kessel and Tucker and Perunovich, who might actually get a shot this year. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting time for hockey. Leon Draisaitl signed a massive 8-year deal worth $122.4 million. That is a chunk of change right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but, they had to keep him and McDavid together. I mean, that was a big part of that whole chemistry. Now, what can they piece together with those two big contracts around those guys?
Because this is going to be in the interesting spot. Like, they're going to have to pay McDavid, but if they don't put together a team that's representative of a team that can challenge at least for a playoff spot or Stanley Cup every year, does McDavid say, no, I'm walking away.
Right. I mean, him getting that close to the cup, maybe that was enough to entice him to stay around and hopefully hold faith. But they also lost that general manager step down who, that was a big part of that leadership group too as well. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, but, either way, here nor there.
Draisaitl got paid. The Blues are going to be exciting next year.
The Blues will be exciting to watch. I'm thinking, for me, I can project them being a top 3 team in the Western Conference, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get to the action
we've been waiting for. Football.
Let's get to the action we've all been waiting for. What we've really been talking about and what has brought us here. We're up on this year celebration of Bets and Buds being a podcast we bring to you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button added in the comment section.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary, brother. There we go. Happy anniversary, Director Dave. Bringing it up. Hey, shout out to Director Dave, keeping us up on the ones and twos and true on the track. Bless us with those beats, the intro and outros on each show here.
And thanks for everybody that's watched all the episodes.
Yes, and chipping in. And so we've gotten better. We try to get a little better and better each year with these bets here that we're trying to bring to you guys.
Yep.
And keep this entertainment going. Bobby and I both, typically each year we've gone through, been about 60% winning clip, and that's covering every single bet for every single week. We don't pick one game here, one game there. We cover every bet. That means the spread, the money line, and the over-unders, and we're going to give you every single week as far as what our thoughts and our projections are. We're going through that. And with that being said, let's start out with the kickoff for tomorrow night. The Ravens and the Chiefs, a rematch of the playoffs of last year.
In Kansas City.
Yes, in Kansas City this time. It's going to be the ring celebration. Ring and banner dropping celebration there. So we got the Ravens and the Chiefs. So the Chiefs, I think for the most part, everybody's got a full slate of their lineups. They're all pretty much healthy. Outside of Marquise Hollywood Brown is still out with the shoulders, probably not going to play.
Is Jones going to play?
You're talking about
for the Chiefs?
Chris Jones?
Chris Jones.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I haven't heard anything different. I mean, I think that would have been big, and that would have been something that would have really swung the betting lines big time.
Now, I thought I had read that he might not play.
Yeah, no, I think that would have been something that would have swung the betting lines in a tremendous way, especially with them having Derrick Henry now. Right. That would have definitely split. So I mean, as anything I've heard they're expecting him to be in the lineup. So what we got going on here we got the Ravens and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are actually 3-point favorites in this game, obviously, coming in. They're looking for the first three-peat ever in Super Bowl history. So with that going on, who do you like in this game, Bobby?
Okay. With that being said, yes, the Chiefs are coming off that Super Bowl victory. They are raising the banner, obviously. But I actually like Baltimore to go in and steal this one.
You like Baltimore to steal this one?
I like Baltimore to win this one in Kansas City. Obviously, they're going to get cover that spread because they're getting the 3 points. But I like the under in this game.
Okay. All right, so we were actually first right off the get-go, disagreement here. Now, everybody knows I'm not a huge Chiefs fan here. I'm a Cowboy fan by nature, but I'm not unrealistic, and I have no bias when it comes to my gambling. But when it comes down to this game here, I'm not really – there's a lot – the question marks that I have with the Ravens are this. how well does Derrick Henry fit into that running game? Because Derrick Henry's running style doesn't necessarily fit the running game because they're a power scheme type of team. But also him and Lamar Jackson can be explosive, but will it take a little while for that chemistry to kind of really intermix there? The other thing that I don't like is them losing their defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. The new coordinator, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he's a young guy, hasn't called any defensive games before. They also lost a lot on the offensive line. They lost 3 offensive linemen, Zeitler, Morgan Moses. I can't remember the other guy they lost, but they lost 3 offensive linemen from starting positions last year. So those are things that kind of had me questioning, will they be able to cover this game, especially with the emotionality of them coming in, three-peat, ring ceremony, the whole 9. So I like the Chiefs to win this game. Obviously, they're going to cover and hit the money line. So they're covering the 3 points, hit the money line. And I like the over at 46.5 is what FanDuel has us at the moment.
Gotcha.
So that's where I'm leaning there.
Mark you down opposite.
Yes, sir. So then the next game we have is on a Friday night.
This one.
This is a new one that they're kicking off here.
This is a new one.
This is on Peacock.
Super Bowl champs, first game the following season. 14-5 win.
14-5. Okay.
Yep. That's kind of where I was leaning there. So Director Dave, shout out to everyone the 1s and 2s.
About to be 14-6.
14-6. Well, you know what? The bets that we'll get into those parlays there, those smoking token hot parlays, baby, because I got one for you that has nothing to do with who wins or loses this game, but something I feel really good about.
So next one comes up from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yes, first game in Brazil for the NFL. First game in Brazil.
It's actually kind of interesting with all the stuff going on down in Brazil right now, but we'll see. We'll see how this one goes.
Team's not leaving the hotel, neither one. They're pretty much, and the hotel's at the airport, so they're basically going to land, hit the airport.
Go to the field.
Yeah, they'll get their escort to the field, get the hell back on and get the hell out of there.
So who do you like in this game, since it's on a neutral field, Jason?
You know what? This was a game I probably struggled with the most, and so FanDuel had this one as the Packers were 3-point underdogs on this one.
Okay, I got 2.5.
You got 2.5. I saw that drop actually 2.5 earlier today. What I had was at 3. I was sticking with that. Even at 2.5, I still like the Packers to actually win this game.
Okay.
I do. Like when I really broke it down, one of the big, everybody has a lot of high expectations for the Eagles this year. One of the things, my hesitancy with them is Kellen Moore being their offensive coordinator.
Right.
Because what they do best was under Shane Steichen. And when they operated best was under Shane Steichen, where he ran that read option and things really operated very well under Shane Steichen. Right now, Kellen Moore is a guy who likes to air the ball out. Mm-hmm. That is not Jalen Hurts' strength. That is how he got pulled in college for Tagovailoa.
Right.
I mean, and even then, even when I watched him his first couple years in the NFL, I was like, I don't know, man. This dude, him throwing the ball downfield, he has a lot of weapons. They're loaded.
I mean, he's got 5 legit weapons.
He's got 5 legit weapons. I mean, you got Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, obviously A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They just got in Johan Dotson. But at the end of the day, I like Kellen Moore's play calling. He was with the Chargers last year.
Right.
We know what type of shit show that was. I mean, I'm just not a big fan of his as far as watching him with Dallas. When I watch him call plays, there were several games I can go back to, even that Jacksonville game that they lost in overtime, because he just kept passing.
Right.
And he does not know how to milk a clock. He doesn't know how to run a 4-minute offense. Those are because he wants to be Mr. Fancy guy, to be the head coach, genius, offensive guy that puts up a lot of points. And so for me, starting off this season, I'm not as high on the Packers as a lot of people are going in this season, but I feel like the Packers are going to win this game. They're going to get the money, obviously hit the money line and get the cover.
Okay.
I mean, I like the under in this one at 48.5.
So we agree on the under.
Yes.
I like the under as well.
Yes. So
I have the Green. I've got Green Bay, or I've got the Philadelphia covering the spread 2.5 and winning on the money line with the under. So
okay. All right, so then next up we got the Titans at the Bears.
Okay, Titans at the Bears. This one's one that I actually had a little trouble with. How good is this Bears offense really going to be? And I mean, Tennessee changed a lot of things on their offense this year too. So
you know what, this is so for me, this is one of the teams, and I would say get on them early this season. The Titans are going to be one of those sneaky covers. Early? Yes, okay. They made a lot of moves to solidify their team. And as far as the Bears hype train, I really can't jump fully on board with that quite yet, just because you got to still have a rookie quarterback. Will Levis is young, but he has some experience from last year. They brought in a lot of weapons there. You got Tyler Boyd now, along with DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley. And then you got Tony Pollard in the backfield with Tajay Spears, so that's going to be a great – and then Chris Nkankwu at tight ends. I mean, there's a lot of weapons there Tennessee to work with. And then they showed up that defense. They brought in L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs last year. I mean, there's just a lot of additions that they made that I really like what the Titans do. What FanDuel had them was at 4.5-point dogs
I
in
had
Chicago.
4.
Yeah, 4. So I have 4.5-point dogs. This is my upset special of the week this week.
Okay.
It's the Titans to win this game.
All right.
Obviously cover, and I like the under at 45.5.
Okay, so we disagree on the first two, but we agree on that under.
Yes, we agree on the under. All right. So next up is Steelers and Falcons. Who you like here, Bobby?
I like the Falcons to get this one done at home. Kirk Cousins, I think they'll, with unleashing that new offense with Bijan Robinson. Pittsburgh, I think it's just going to take them a couple of weeks. Tomlinson will get that team playing, but I just don't think it's going to be in the first couple of weeks. So give me Atlanta to cover that 3.5. Win at home, and I like the under in this one as well.
Okay, so I think FanDuel has Pittsburgh at 3, which I like that better than 3 in the hook.
That?
I like that better than 3 in the hook. But also, either way it goes, this is a revenge game for Arthur Smith going back to Atlanta from last year.
He wants to beat the shit out of him.
Yes, it's a revenge game because guess what? Arthur Smith was not a bad coach.
No,
a lot of people from Atlanta hate Arthur Smith, but guess what? You gave him shit at quarterback to work with last year. I mean, he had Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder. Taylor Heineke just got traded. I can't remember who he got traded to, but he just got traded from the Falcons to someone.
Who?
Taylor Heineke.
Oh shit! Where did
he just got traded. So for me, I like the Steelers in this game. I like to send in revenge fashion. Yes, they're 3-point dogs. I like them obviously to hit the money line if they're going to win that game there, and I like the under at 42.5 because they're going to make Pittsburgh play in an Atlanta game, and let's see how tough Atlanta is as a team because one of the things I still question with Atlanta is their front. Pittsburgh doesn't have the strongest offensive line, but I question a lot of their front.
All right. Yep. So I actually like Atlanta in the under. I like the under in this one too.
Okay. So then next up, we got the Jaguars and the Dolphins.
Jags and Dolphins. Okay. I think this is another one we're probably going to end up disagreeing on.
Yeah, probably.
I like the Dolphins to hold serve at home on this one.
Do you?
Yeah.
I went back and forth in this game, and I actually got swayed listening to a couple different takes that I was listening to during the course of the week, and I actually like the Jaguars to actually take this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Jaguars to take this one. Over under. What did DraftKings have the over under?
I have it at 49.
Yeah, but you had 49. I had 49
and I like
and a half.
the over in this one.
Yeah,
I think
do
this
too.
is going to be a high score.
I do too. I think it's going to be a shootout game. I don't think either team defensively wise has a very strong pass rush. So 49 and a half is what I had. So I like the over, but the only thing we disagree on is Jaguars. That I have.
I like Miami.
Yeah, and you like the Dolphins. So then next up, we got probably the biggest game. It'd probably be the Patriots and the Bengals this week.
Oh, Patriots at the Bengals.
And so FanDuel has them at 9.5-point dogs.
Yeah, this is the biggest spread I have.
Yes, this is the biggest spread of the week.
It is 9. I have it at 9.
You got it at 9? Yeah, I have 9.5-point dogs for the Patriots in Cincinnati.
I like Cincinnati to cover this one. I like them to cover the spread. I like them to win at home. But I think the under hits. I just don't think the Patriots is going to score anything this week.
Okay, so here's the only difference that we have here in this game. Jacoby Brissett's a veteran.
Right.
They had a solid defense last year. Let's see how they've come to the table. They lost Matthew Judon, obviously, to the Falcons that we talked about earlier. But I like the Patriots to cover that 9.5 points. I can see them losing by 6 or 7, somewhere in that range there. But I like the Bengals to still win this game, and I also like the under too as well. I had it at 40.5.
Okay, I've got it at 41.
Yeah, 41. So I had it 40.5. That's what I like there in that game there.
Okay.
All right, so next up we got the Texans at the Colts, a division rivalry game already to start the season. So Texans at the Colts in Indianapolis. I have the Colts as underdogs at home at 2.5 points.
I have 3.
You have 3
points.
Okay, all right. So I actually like that juice a little bit better even. So that's what sometimes when you're going through gambling, look to kind of play your books and see what you get, shop for the best odds you can get there.
I think Houston goes into Indianapolis and gets this one done.
You think so?
I like Houston to win, actually cover, obviously, and give me that under at 48.5.
Okay. So you know what? I have 49.5 for the under, so I do like the under on this game too. Even at 48.5, I'd probably take that too as well. The only difference is I actually like the Colts to win this game at home. They were actually only with Gardner Minshew last year. They were actually only a 2-point, a 2-yard 4th and 2 conversion away from winning that game.
You're right. You're right.
Winning that division. So I actually like the Colts. They brought a lot of their pieces back. Jonathan Taylor is healthy, and Anthony Richardson's healthy, and that's the thing. At week 1, we really don't know what we're going to see yet with not a lot of preseason action, and nobody has been that full speed
some
yet.
of these I was like maybe throwing darts at a wall.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a crapshoot going on right, and this is we'll see. So we're definitely going to have a disparity between our record right off the get-go.
We definitely are.
All right, so yes, I like the Colts in this.
Okay.
One. All right.
Who do you got next?
Next up, I got the Vikings at the Giants.
This was another one that I had to take a double look at. I mean, do we know what the Vikings are going to be? Are the Giants really going to be as bad as they were last year?
There is not much I like about this New York Giants team, really.
Not really. I mean, because they brought in Singletary to replace Barkley, and you've still got Daniel Jones back there. And, you brought in Malik Neighbors, but it's still Daniel Jones back there.
And here's my problem with a lot of times with that type of draft philosophy. Malik Neighbors is an explosive player, but sometimes when you have a team that is that weak, you have to have you have to try to solidify your offensive and defensive lines as much as you can. The defensive line has been solidified pretty well, but offensive line wise, they still got a lot of holes, a lot of gaps there. And receiver is the most dependent position in football because you need the offensive line to block, give your quarterback time. You need the quarterback to be able to read the defense.
Throw it
so you got to be able to get the ball to you in the right spots, all those things. I mean, so you could bring in an explosive receiver like Malik Neighbors, but as a rookie especially, how much impact is he going to be able to have?
And he's not a big kid either.
No, I mean, and he doesn't necessarily even have to be if you're especially
if you're able to hit the
look at Tank Dell.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is at least stout, but Tank Dell barely weighs 175 pounds. True. There's no way you can tell me that he's any more than that. So I mean, but in this game, so I like the Vikings where I have at 1.5 point favorites.
That's what I've got.
Yeah, 1.5. So I like the Vikings actually to win this game. And they're obviously going to cover the money line. I like the over at this one at 41.5.
Okay, I've got it at 41, but I like the under.
You like the under in this one? Yeah, I like the over in this one. This is where I'm kind of leaning there on this game. All right, so the next up we have the Panthers at the Saints, another division rivalry game. So
Saints won both of these games last year.
Panthers were god awful. That's
the first one was a lot closer than the second one. Panthers definitely they seem to have gotten worse as the season went on. It's hard to believe, but Young really did not show much. So I like New Orleans to hold serve here at home. Obviously to cover that 4 points, and give me the under in this one.
Okay, so for me, I think it's going to be a close game.
Okay.
I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think the Panthers are going to be a lot better football team than what a lot of people are expecting this year. I think they're going to cover I have 4.5 points. So I think they're going to cover the 4.5. I think the Saints are still going to pull out the victory at home, but I also like the under. I have at 41.5 is where I have the under at. So that's where I'm leaning in this game there. But I do believe the Panthers are going to be a lot better football team than they were last year.
I mean, they better. What'd they go, 3-14?
Well, they brought in Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette. He's an explosive receiver. Then you got Miles Sanders with Chuba Hubbard, and you got so they got some more to, and Adam Thielen's still on the team.
When he comes out Jonathan Brooks, he'll end up being their number one running back by the end of the year.
I think at some point he may be, depending on how healthy he can come back off the IR and how much he can develop with sitting and being sidelined, missing this much time at this point. All right, so the next up we have the Cardinals at the Bills. Okay. So the Cardinals are actually a team that I would say is going to be, for me, this is my other sneaky cover team.
You've been saying it all off.
Not that they're going to necessarily win the games, but that they will be able to cover a lot of their spreads. And so right now I have the spread going in this game. It was at 5.5 earlier in the week. This week today it dropped down to 6.5.
Yep.
There's 6.5 dogs for the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals to cover that 6.5 points.
I like that.
But I like the Bills to still win this game. I think it's going to be an offensive explosion because the Bills lost a lot on defense. Cardinals really didn't have much defense going into last year. The over was at 48.5 that I had through FanDuel. So I like the over in this game.
I like the over. That's the first game we agree.
I think it's our first agreement right here.
100% on that one.
That's our first agreement. Oh, man, it's going to be exciting.
It only took 11 of them. 10 of them.
It's going to be an exciting week next week to see who ends where and who's still standing.
Somebody's coming out in front.
All right, so next up we got another division rivalry. We got the Raiders at the Chargers. Yeah, Raiders at the Chargers. So who do you like in this game, Bobby?
This one I did go back and forth on, but give me that Minshew magic in the first week of the season.
You think Minshew magic?
I like the Raiders to go in. I know that the Chargers, they've got Harbaugh coming in. They're going to be a better team, but I think they lose this first one.
Yeah, I mean, they're very limited on their skill position, as far as that's concerned. But, I mean, their offensive line is pretty stout, the way they constructed it, and the strong point of the Raiders' defense. So we're basically going strength on strength here.
Yeah, because it's their front four.
Because the Raiders got a strong front four. You got the Chargers with a strong offensive line. I think the Chargers are very offensively challenged as far from a skill position. We'll see how well Ladd McConkey adapts.
Can he step up?
And then you got Joshua Palmer is like another lead receiver. Then you got J.K. Dobbins. See how healthy he's going to be with Gus Edwards. So they got the
Gus
two Ravens back.
they definitely got veteran backs in the backfield. Well, Dobbins, if he could stay, he's been in the NFL, 5 seasons now. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, some pretty catastrophic injuries, too, on top of that. So, but I like the Chargers, actually, to take this game.
Okay, you like the Chargers to win this one?
3-point favorites is what I so I like the Chargers to take this game, and I like the over. Over was at 40.5.
Okay.
That's what I had.
I've got the over as well, so we agree on the over.
Yeah, so we agree on the over there. So then next up, we got the Broncos at the Seahawks. Broncos at Seahawks.
I like obviously the Seahawks to win this game at home. I still think the Broncos got a couple of steps to make before. They totally switch it around, but it's +6, and I like the Broncos to cover that 6 points.
Okay.
And give me the over at 41.5.
That's our second game we agree on there, brother. Yeah. What, 40.5 or 41.5?
40.
So I got the exact same lines for you. That's our second game we agree on. So I don't need to dive much into that one because I agree. I think the Broncos can cover. Seahawks win, and I like the over.
Yeah, I just think the Broncos will just be good enough to keep game. I think the Broncos will be one of those teams that keeps games close this year.
Well, a lot of things like people have to look at a lot of times when you look at rookie quarterbacks, and this is what I kind of like dove deep into in the offseason here. Rookie quarterback records in the last, I want to say, 5 seasons in their opener is like very low. I want to say it was like 4-21 or something like that. I mean, it's just a very low, optimism that you're going to have when you like talking about a rookie in his very first game in the National Football League trying to come out with a victory. So
I wonder but the Seahawks are obviously breaking in a brand new coach this year.
They are, but
what
they're
are
also
the records for new coaches?
The new coaches
records.
I think that's a little bit closer clip as far as winning wise. Yeah, because you're coaching, you obviously have a little bit more experience as far as at least in the NFL, and you kind of know what you're looking at, and you're actually not out in the fucking field to begin with too. On top of that, so all right. So the next game we have up is our Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns. Dallas Cowboys. I got them as 2.5 point dogs.
Yep.
2.5. You got the same line?
I got the same line.
All right, who do you like in this, Bobby?
I actually like Cleveland to get this one done at home.
Okay.
And give me the over at 40.5.
Okay. All right, so here you got 40.5?
40.5.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty...
It was low as hell. I couldn't believe it.
That must have dropped because I know when I looked at it today, I had 42.5.
Okay.
I had 42.5 through FanDuel. But so the Cowboys are 2.5 point dogs. I actually like the Cowboys to win this game. Okay. Only because there's been a lot of negative press of how they handle the contract. CeeDee Lamb has been taken care of. Dak's going to have a piss off, fuck you mode game. He's going to have to play that way. He's going to have to. I like Mike Zimmer coming back as a defensive coordinator. And there's a lot of question marks with the Cleveland Browns right now. You got both tackles are coming off an injury there. We don't know the health status of them. You also have on the other end, like Deshaun Watson. What are we going to get out of Deshaun Watson?
Well, that was one of the questions I had down here, Watson. Can he actually be that guy?
And is he going to be healthy? He's still complaining about shoulder soreness that he's had from last year that sidelined him the rest of the season. So, again, that's a big question mark for me that made me lean to the Cowboys to go to this game and cover that 2.5 and get the win. And I like the under at that 42.5.
Okay.
Yeah, now, if it was at 40, what did you say, 40.5?
Yeah, 40.
So the 40.5, I might take the over on that one just to see. But I mean, again, that's kind of here nor there. But that's kind of like for me. But at the 42.5, I like the under on that range. All right. So then next up, we got the Commanders, Washington Commanders at the Buccaneers. Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Not really excited about this game at all.
I don't think many people are that are outside of those fan bases. Really.
Yeah. I like Tampa to obviously win at home. To cover that 3.5, they're giving up. And I'll take the under at 44 in this game. Okay,
we're in total agreement in this one. I mean, but for me, I had them at 3. They were at 3.5, and then the line got dropped to 3 through FanDuel. I like the money line, obviously hitting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again because this is a rookie quarterback going in on a road game, first NFL start in the season. I think Washington's going to be a lot better than what people realize, but I have them at 43.5 as far as for the over under, and I like the under 2 as well in this game. All right, so now we got the last two prime times. Now we get in
Sunday night and Monday night.
Yes,
so this Sunday night game is a rematch of last year's playoff game.
Yes, sir.
And I like Detroit to get it done again at home. I thought the over-under at 50.5 was pretty high, so I went under in this one. Okay. And then the line was 3.5. And I like Detroit to cover that.
Okay, so this was I went through. I said we were going to go through and have a segment for a hashtag fadeNeil pick.
Yeah,
all right, so just for our fan base out there who doesn't understand Neil. Neil is one of our resident Viking fans. It tends a bar that we reside at and watch our football at, and he's one of those guys that. He's a Viking fan. He's a typical Viking fan. And here's a little backstory on the Vikings. That Vikings are one of those organizations, as people always give us shit or give me shit, whatever, for being a Cowboy fan. And that's all right, but I've seen this team win 3 Super Bowls, so I'm old enough to have seen that happen. I'm not a Viking fan. I'm not a Bill fan. I'm not a Bengal fan. I'm not a Brown fan who has not seen a Super Bowl. And the Vikings are actually the first team to lose 4 Super Bowls.
Before the Bills ever did
it wasn't 4 in a row, but they lost 4 Super Bowls, and they've never won one. And then let me tell you about a man named Gary Anderson. There was a man named Gary Anderson. We should have one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. The Vikings were 15-1. They were going to go to play the Broncos, who had just beat the Packers the year before in the Super Bowl. That was going to be one of the most beautiful Super Bowls to ever be played. Gary Anderson hadn't missed a kick in 2 fucking years. Has a 45-yard field goal in order to send them to the Super Bowl, and he missed. And he fucking missed. They go to overtime. Next thing you know, we got the Dirty Bird, in the Super Bowl. So once that happened, I put the stamp of loser on the fucking Vikings. And so that's Neil. That's his team. And
and they haven't even come close since.
And if you ever watch Neil gamble, sorry, #fadeNeil. So that's what brought us here to this point. So this was a fadeNeil game here where I like the Rams. I like Matthew Stafford couldn't win the game in Detroit last year in the playoffs. 3.5-point dogs. I like them to go into Detroit, win this game. I like the under 2 as well. It was at 51.5.
Yeah, I thought that was a little high.
Yeah, it was a little high, but I like it at 51.5. So. All right, so the last game we have on the docket here is we have the Jets at the Niners in San Francisco. So we got Trent Williams has been he signed his contract. We got Brandon Ayuk is back. Ricky Pearsall, he got shot. He survived the shooting and said, all right, he pulled his John Wick and took the dude's gun and shot him and fucking got him arrested. So, shout out to the Ricky Pearsall for being a dog and keeping yourself alive out there in these streets, man. It's not worth it, though. Sometimes just give up that fucking jewelry, baby.
Just give it up, man.
Just give up the jewelry. It's not worth your life, brother. But thank God everything's okay for you. All right, so I like the Jets in this game, man. I like the Jets.
You like the Jets to win this one outright?
Yeah, they were at 4.5 point. They were at 4.5-point dogs here. But I like the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is on a revenge mission. He's on a revenge tour going this season. Everybody's talking shit about him. Like some people talking about him being a selfish player and so on. But none of his teammates are saying these things. They have a talented roster, and this was what they were waiting for. And I just don't see him getting hurt again. So at 4.5-point dogs, I like the Jets to actually cover that and then obviously win. And then the under was at 51.5 is what I had. And I like the under in this game because I think both defenses are pretty solid.
Wow, that's so different than what DraftKings has.
What they have?
They had 44.
44? Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I had 51.5. So
I like the over at 44.
I maybe have to go look and recheck that. Because if it's like 44, I would take that in that range. So I don't know.
That seems high.
Yeah, that may be high. I may have to go look that one over again.
Well, maybe it changed since we got back.
43 at ESPN Bet.
43.
So it's got to be. So I may have misread that either because the other game above that was 51.5. So I might have misread that looking at it if I was in a hurry or something. So,
yeah, but I like the over at a 43, 44 range. I like the over.
Yeah, so at that range, so let's go. Let's say it's 44. I'll even say 44.5. I would take the over in that. So I would flip that and take the over. Yeah, so that covers that.
So I agree that I'd like the Jets to cover that 4.5. I think San Francisco, if they win, it's by like a field goal. Yeah, walking it off at the last minute. So
okay. All right, now you say you like the over? Okay.
I like the over in that one.
I'm gonna jot that down and put that. Make sure I know.
I like the over. I have 44 right now.
Yeah, I bet you I probably misread that. It's probably 44.
That was Rams Lions.
Yeah, I bet you because it was right above that. So I guarantee I probably misread that one there.
All right, that's every game. So let's get into our picks. I only have one. I actually put a pick on every game this year. I'm doing every game of the season for $1 a game, picking either the money line or the spread and the over/under. Because usually you can't make all 3 bets across. Right. It's very rare that you're able to make all 3 bets across. Right. So I did that. I've got $1 on each one of these games, but I made one bet for anytime touchdown scores. I've got Derrick Henry scoring. I like Anthony Richardson to score. 4 games last year, 4 rushing touchdowns. Right. So Justin Jeffries to score, and then Breece Hall to score. That's 4 touchdowns for plus 22.76.
Oh, nice. I like that juice. All right, well, I got several bets here for you guys. I got a little Rolodex for you guys. So like I said, this is Smoking Token Hot Parlays. I always give you a little bit enough excitement and action, or at least you're going to get your money's worth to where most of the time my bets are usually going to keep you in the game most of the time, whether it be an injury or something like that, barring an injury or something like that on those lines. The first game we have, I like to put the juice on the primetime games. It makes it a little bit more exciting. So the first one was the Chiefs and the Ravens. I didn't want to touch who won or lost in this game, so I had the Pacheco anytime touchdown, Lamar Jackson anytime touchdown, and then Pacheco go under 14.5 yards receiving because they just signed Samaj P. Ryan.
They did.
And so they really don't need necessarily him to impact the passing game. If he does, it would be some type of emergency type or desperation type passing shot because he's not really a big pass catcher out of the backfield. But that parlay there was at plus 1098. So that one right there, $100 went you $1,098 there. So that one's my first one that I had for that first primetime game. Then we moved to the game in Brazil. So I have the Packers and Eagles game. I like Romeo Doubs, who's looked amazing in this training camp. I mean, absolutely amazing. I mean, a lot of the guys have said, even Jair Alexander, the top cornerback, who doesn't really give a lot of compliments to receivers, said he's been damn near unguardable in the training camp here. So I like Romeo Doubs, anytime touchdown score. Saquon Barkley over 15.5 yards receiving.
I like that one.
And then Jordan Love over 6.5 yards rushing.
Okay.
That was at plus 1047. So that means
I like that.
So $100 went you $1,047. So I like that one there. And then my next one here, this was a parlay for the course of the day on Sunday. These are a couple wins that I liked as far as for just individual games. Right. I like the Titans money line, Jaguars money line, Cowboys money line, and Cardinals to cover that 6.5 points against the Bills. That was at plus 2766. Means $100 went you $2,766. So that's, again, if you all you're just now tuning in the show and don't understand, I like that heavy juice, baby.
He likes
I like that heavy juice because guess what? That's what keeps me rolling pretty strong in my account, where I haven't put money in my account in 2 fucking years. So, you know what? I like to roll that way. I know a lot of your professional gamblers say, oh, I will never bet that way. But again, I'm not trying to do this shit for a living. This is entertainment purposes only, baby. We're just having a good time with this shit. All right, so the next one here, I like the Rams money line. This is my hashtag fadeNeil pick here.
Yeah, this is hashtag fadeNeil.
Yeah, so I got my Rams money line. David Montgomery, anytime touchdown. Jameson Williams, over 39.5 yards receiving. And then I also like Blake Corum, the rookie, over 22.5 yards rushing. And that was at plus 1358.
Really?
Plus 1358. Yes, okay. that was my pick for that game. Because, again, like I said, I like to have the juice on the prime time. It just keeps me a little bit more locked in when I'm playing that game, watching that game, whether it be a blowout or whatever's going on.
I like Blake Corum.
Oh, he's going to be nice. He's going to be very, very nice, especially in that Sean McVay running scheme. It's that power running scheme. I love that power stretch action. All right, so the next up we got the Monday night game. I like the Jets. Jets at the money line. Aaron Rodgers passing for over 237.5 yards. Brock Purdy to rush for over 6.5 yards. And I like Garrett Wilson anytime touchdown score. That was at plus 1191. Plus 1191. So that's kind of where I'm leaning on that one there.
So I will never bet on an over-under on Purdy rushing ever again.
I know you got burned. You got burned by that one. He actually hit me one year doing that. So all right, then the next one I have. These are just the last two are just anytime touchdown scores. So these are going to be some of your big. These are your scratch-off picks here right here. Right. Look at these are like scratch-offs. So I got Evan Ingram, anytime touchdown score. T. Higgins, anytime touchdown score. Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown score. And Dalton Kincaid, anytime touchdown score. That one paid out at plus 2181. So $100 pays you out at $2,181. All right, then my last one for this week, I've got DJ Moore, anytime touchdown score. Tyreek Hill, anytime touchdown score. Dalton Schultz, anytime touchdown score. And Ezekiel Elliott in his return to Dallas, anytime touchdown score because he knows how to find an end zone. He gets to the goal line. That one plays out at plus 5220. Plus 5220. That one's so $100.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah, that's the big one right there. So that $100 actually wins you $5,220.
That's what's going to be interesting about that Dallas backfield. Once Cook gets up to speed, is he going to be the main guy, and they're just going to have Elliott come in on third down, goal line situation, and just bust it? Director Dave's dumb pick of the week. Oh, okay, yes. We like this.
Okay, yeah. So here's your ultimate scratch-off pick right here.
Yes.
Director Dave's dumb pick of the week. We got 2 TD scores by Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, and Christian McCaffrey. Pays out at $23,970.
That's your ultimate scratch-off.
Yeah, that's your ultimate scratch-off bet for the week right there. So if you go and ride along with Director Dave on that one and you hit that shit, good on you. Shout out to you. Your scratch-off hit, baby.
No shit. Wow. Good luck to you, buddy. Good luck to you.
Yeah, so football season is here. We have made it. We have arrived. We are back in action here.
If you're looking for any kind of daily fantasy play on Sunday, if you're looking, I always look at the rookie quarterbacks. I mean, probably Williams, probably going to give you the most rushing upside.
Okay.
As far as running backs go, if you would really have to look at Zach Moss and see what they do in Cincinnati this year. Is he going to be the number one guy, or is this Chase Brown going to come in and spell him more?
Right.
We'll see there. As far as wide receiver goes, definitely look at Xavier Worthy. We got to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, there'll be some exposure there.
In that Chiefs offense. Your tight ends, really, I mean, it's a crapshoot every year.
Right.
We know who the top 5 are. The only thing I want to see, actually, is Isaiah Likely actually going to keep up his share of that target.
It depends. That's what'll be interesting watching that Kansas City game.
Yeah, if Mark Andrews lost a step at all with that injury.
Yeah, see how much they line up in the 2 tight end personnel. That's going to be, because I can see that being a big part of their offense. You Derrick Henry, get them in a pistol formation where you got Lamar Jackson up close with a short shotgun, Derrick Henry directly behind him, and you got the 2 stud tight ends on the outside. That's going to help open up the receivers on the outside end too. So I can see that being, because when Mark Andrews went out last year, Isaiah Likely definitely proved that he's a weapon. He definitely proved that he's a strong weapon in this NFL league.
As far as defensive goes, you're probably for the first couple of weeks until you're going to want to stream against New England or Washington, one of the teams that we don't expect to be really good.
I'd be careful with Washington, though, man. I think they're going to be explosive.
You think so?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is explosive. I mean, and then you still got Scary Terry down there.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, Austin Eckler's there, where he's the one of those that gets in the end zone. He knows. I mean, gets in the red zone. He knows.
He better, because I had to draft his ass this year.
Dead leg Austin Eckler this year.
Yeah,
see what happens. But you know what? He knows how to punch it in and find an end zone when he gets there, man.
Let's hope he has a 20
he's kind of like how Zeke is.
Season.
He just knows how to punch that in. So
that's all I got this week, Jason.
All right, so we are back in action, brother. We made it. We did it again. Another season here in action and in play.
Sir.
All right, shout out to True on the Track. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button add to the comment section. Shout out to Director Dave, keeping us up on the 1s and 2s. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
We'll see you next week. Peace.